Hello, my name is Noah Jimenez and I'm doing my persuasive speech. Picture this, it's 2 in the morning, the desk light is blinding, and you're desperately trying to memorize a unit for, say, history. You end up getting an A on that quiz the next morning, but 2 days later, you don't remember nothing from the quiz. You don't pay much attention, but you think, how is it that I got an A on that quiz but don't remember nothing? Now I'm talking about traditional grades, for example, A to F grading. My experience shows a major flaw in the system. For example, you take a test and you just learn everything in class and you do good on that test, but later you are thinking about it and you have no answer to this. Maybe in a grade later, 2 grades later, or a test you take later that month. You don't remember nothing. And this can also lead to grade anxiety. Studying all night and then later on in the year still not getting your answers right, that can lead to just stress or think you're not doing something right. Grades are a standardized metric, like letters or percentages, used to score a specific assignment. On the other hand, you have long-term acquisition, comprehension and application of knowledge. According to educational research, high-stakes grading systems often encourage what is called surface learning. Surface learning is where students just learn to pass an exam and that's it. They're not really wanting to learn about the material just to pass and get that grade. And the grade is just a temporary showing of what they have seen, not really learned. Furthermore, studies also show that focusing heavily on rewards like getting an A can actually decrease a student's motivation to explore a subject and actually dive into it and research it. The intense pressure to get good grades creates an unfair anxiety barrier. Some people don't perform as good under this, and some people do. But that doesn't mean they have any type of different learning than the other person. And it can also put anxiety and fear of failure into people that take these tests. And if a student's anxiety prevents them from showing what they really know, it can hold them back from getting good grades and affecting what they can do later in life, like getting a scholarship or going to a good school. Data from the mental health organizations highlight that academic stress is a leading cause of anxiety among teenagers. This means the testing environment itself is stressful, and it creates an unfair place for students when they have really important measurements for their school. And it creates a culture in schools that shift the focus from actual curiosity to academic survival. Grades become a metric of stress tolerance rather than true intelligence. Fortunately, better alternative methods already exist, and people are actually changing the way that they're grading and showing long-term skill retention. According to studies on progressive education frameworks, students who are evaluated through project-based portfolios demonstrate better learning than students that take tests that are graded from A to F. Because the students that create portfolios actually have to deep dive into information, and these portfolios are graded on what they actually know and not a test that is just questions. It gives your own opinion to this, and it is not just A, B, C, or D. You have many different opinions you could give about a subject. And this is where I want to get to my summary of everything. I think that in school we should move to just kind of having answers be not opinion-wise, but something that you can actually give your information that you actually know about, and not something that is just a click an answer and that's the correct answer. I think this will help students just intellectually learn more than just taking a test and forgetting about it. That's why a lot of people or students use like ChatGPT or AI on assignments. They're just worried about passing. They're not really worried about what they're going to their mind. And that's why I think a lot of students, when they get on later on into school or life, they don't retain what they learned because they just put their pen to a paper, and after that they don't really remember what they learned. And it's important to make sure people remember what they learned because they can use it later on. And it's just, you don't want to spend all your time in school just learning something temporary and then later on in life not having it. So to wrap things up, I think this is why schools should switch from standardized A through F grading to more of a student portfolio, just a way for students to answer differently while gaining information that they need. Thank you for listening to my speech.